Hi, everybody. We are on week one of our class with probation and parole, and I'm really excited about that. But to start this class, I think it's important that I go over what the rules are, the little housekeeping rules. Many of you have had me before, and you know that I am. If there's something that happens in your life, or there's a really good reason why you can't get your paper in, or there's a really good reason why you can't get something done, with the exception of the discussions must always be put in by Thursday at 11:59. And the reason being is if you don't put your discussion in, somebody else can't feed off it, and they need that to do the responses. So I need you to do your discussions by 11:59 Thursday. I then need you to do your responses, because what will happen is very often I have students that maybe only do 3 responses. But if you read the rubric, it says more than 3. So if it's more than 3, that means 4, at least 4, will get you a better grade. So make sure that you look at your rubric and you follow your rubric. The other part about our discussion is if you're using a source, and I suggest you use a source, whatever you do, back it up. Make sure you put it in there. Now you have to do 250 words, and I count. I'm telling you straight out, I count. So you have to have 250 words. That does not include your salutations. It does not include, hey, class, how you doing? It includes the guts of it. It doesn't include what you cite. So 250 words of content. That's what's really important. And then after that, it's 50 words of content. I really need you to look at your rubrics that have to do with everything, and they will tell you what's expected of you. One of the things that happens very often is I have a student that'll they'll see 3 responses, but it really says 3 or more response. It says more than 3 responses. If you want a perfect score and you're doing the perfect job, which a lot of you are, I'm really excited for this group of students here. You can only bring your grade down by not doing at least 4 responses. So keep that in mind. 4 responses. And on time for that. So that's really important. But if there's a reason your paper can't get in, you need to let me know. My cell phone number is 413-883-3537. Text me before it's late. Don't text me on Sunday morning saying, hey, I didn't get my paper in because of this. Not the most important, but the thing that I found that students who do really well know about time management. So you all know that you have a paper that's due on Saturday, and you all know that you have to have a discussion into me by Thursday at 11:59. So the very first thing you should be doing is your discussion, and then working on your paper. You can always put in early. It can't hurt you. If I see something that I'm like, oh, you only got like 200 words, I might say to you, you might want to rethink that and put some more words in there, and do a little more research. There is a huge amount of information you can find on all of this, and it's really kind of interesting. So we're going to get to what importance of probation and parole. And the thing with the importance of probation and parole is to first know what the differences are, and there are big differences. Probation and parole are completely separate from each other, and very often a person might have both, and they'll have a probation officer and a parole officer, and both are different. And both have different jobs, believe it or not. So they'll work together. I mean, there's the vast majority of police departments around here now have community corrections, and what will happen is a police officer, a probation officer, and a parole officer will all go out together and meet with the person who is the client. So look up the importance of probation and parole, and then when you're looking at it, I am so proud of Massachusetts most of the time. I'm very proud of Massachusetts, 99.9% of the time. But where was the first probation office? Well, it was in Massachusetts. It started in Massachusetts, and there was a father of probation. I think of the power of one, and I think of the power of one having to do during these really tumultuous times. The power of one. There was this man by the name of Augustus, and you should be reading about him this week, and if you're not, you need to read about him, because he was the man who had a vision. He says, you know what? I can help these people. Alcohol makes people do some things that aren't so good. He was a definite teetotaler, did not do any drinking whatsoever. And he says, release those people to me and I will work with them. But he started the whole basis. When you look at the basis of parole, he looked at certain things. He said, do they have good character? Let me look into their soul. Do they have good character? Do they have promise? And then they started looking. It has to do with the investigation of the person. It had to do with intake. In there's three concepts that are used to this day when you look at that. And one of them is, do they have the ability to do well? So the offender's character, age, places are apt to be influenced was important, and then they looked at how are we going to work these. Probation would be put on a lot of different sentences before and after. So somebody could be released to preconditions, and a probation officer would be in charge of that preconditions before trial, or they could be an on and after. So they could get a sentence of, let's make up something stupid. So if it's under 2.5 years, it's probation in a jail or a house of correction. Anything over 2.5 in Massachusetts makes it a felony, and they would have to go to a state prison, or the state prison could pay for them to be in a county jail. So when you look at that, you say, okay, you have 3 months, or you have 3 years, or 2.5 years. Each sentence could be 2.5 years hanging on your head. So if you break the conditions of probation, you are going to go to jail. All right, and you have to agree that what the terms are. The terms can be Alcohol Anonymous. It could be paying restitution. There's a whole bunch of those, and I want you to look at what some of the guidelines that they put on there are. Some of them are to stay away from the victim. Some of them are to do a lot of community service, and you especially see community service in the juvenile justice system. There's a lot of community service. So when we start looking at that, we were the first ones. The first probation law, it was in 1925, and it started moving forward. And the statutes, when you started looking at that, they were added onto the courts, and probation officers were added on there. Then there's a parole thing. What is a parole thing? Well, remember, most of the way we run our courts come back from Old English law. And so English law had many, many times before that said, what can we do to hold over people's heads? That when you hold something over somebody's head, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're going to go to jail. That's parole. So a parole officer and a probation officer are different. Probation is that you have certain strict guidelines. Parole means that you have jail time that's actually been assigned to you, and you've been released either on good behavior, or the court has released you for many different reasons. But you've had jail sentence assigned to you, and now you've been released. So now there's someone that's watching you. And those people, they have a thing that a lot of them use now. It's called an ELMO, which is electronic monitoring. So they can use electronic monitoring. They can make you do a breathalyzer before you get in a car. They can, there's so many different things they can add. There's a lot of drug diversion courts right now, and there's a lot of diversion in the adult court and the juvenile court. And that is a fabulous thing. Alrighty. There was one fly that got in from outside, and it's going to make me crazy during this. But we'll continue on. So know what the difference between the two are. And I'm going to send you a link to a great site that I read from one of the court systems. The next thing you have to do is we're going to go into the next part of the module, which is going to be your written assignment. And your written assignment is going to be, let me get to it. Conditional and unconditional diversion. So what's the conditions, and who sets the conditions, and who enforces the conditions? There's a lot of conditions out there that are tied around, having to take a urine test, a drug test. Look at those diversions, and they're huge. So why are our jails, everybody says we have more people in jail now than ever before, but if you look at our jails right now, let's look at Massachusetts. Some of you may not be from Massachusetts, so would you send me an email, and I'll look up what yours are so I can have a meaningful conversation with you about that. But our Ludlow jail right now is at the lowest numbers it's ever been, the very lowest numbers. Why? Because these minute drug offenses, there's no more, you can't be arrested for having small amounts of marijuana. You can only be arrested if you're distributing it illegally. So minor drug offenses are going by the wayside. There's a lot of diversion, and that's what I want you to look at. And if you can't find any diversions, I can help you with that because I actually happen to have a very good friend who was a probation officer. She was a chief probation officer that did diversion. And now they're starting to do that diversion over to the adult court, and it's working quite well. And it makes conditions that are set. So look at that, see how we've evolved and how we're getting away from being the most people put in jail to like what can we do? What are the purposes? And that's what it comes all full circle to. What are the purposes of probation? What is the number one purpose of probation? To have a person go back into society to be the better person than they were before and to be a meaningful person, member of our society. And that's what we want. If it does no good to put somebody in jail for 2.5 years or 4 years or 5 years and give them no training and then throw them out back in society with no tools to be doing well. And that's what diversion comes down to. We are giving people the tools to be great members of our society. I hope some of you are going into probation and parole. I have such wonderful thoughts on it, and I was part of community policing, not the community police officers. I was community corrections. I ran the community corrections for Western Mass, a group for the Westfield Police Department, and we had 5 cities that were part of a coalition that worked with community corrections and found that we did such great work together as a team, and part of that team was the person that was the client. And you have to think of that. They were a client. They were there. You were there to help them. So they were a client. And it worked really well. So I wish you all the best of luck. Remember, this paper says that you must have, and let's go to that. It has to come in, it's 4 to 6 pages, 4 to 5 pages, APA style, and it has to include at least 2 sources. Please remember 2 sources. And that does not include your cover sheet or your citation sheet. It includes only 4 to 5 pages of content. I wish you all the best of luck. Thanks. Bye-bye.